This week saw a welcome change as market participation broadened. The Nasdaq composite staged a fresh follow-through day and also triggered a power trend. What's up, guys? It's Brandon from Amphibian Trading. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any future updates. And with that said, let's get right into it. I want to start by reviewing a weekly chart of the Nasdaq and take a look at where I think we are in this cycle. The way I see it is we had 3 waves down, which is typical in a bear market. We have our first wave, second wave, and then our third wave. And then we have a retest of the lows. And then now we've pushed higher and we've formed a higher low, and we're building a base from which we can potentially push to higher prices. Now, if we go ahead and switch over to the daily chart, the action this week was very strong, and we can finally get that missing ingredient of the CanSlim methodology, which has been the M, or the market. The current rally started back on March 13th, which is the bar here with the blue background. Now, Wednesday was day 13 of the rally attempt, and we finally got a follow-through day, which again is a gain of 1.25% or more on greater volume than the previous day. You can see it's marked on my volume indicator with a green diamond, and then today we got an additional follow-through day with the Nasdaq closing right at the highs of the week. Now, in between the 2 follow-through days, we also saw a power trend turn on. And the way that happens is the low of the day needs to be above the 21 exponential moving average for 10 days. The 21 exponential moving average also needs to be above the 50-day simple moving average for 5 days. The 50-day needs to be in an uptrend for at least 1 day. And lastly, the index needs to close up on the day. So Thursday, we met all of that criteria. So we now have a valid power trend, which signifies a time when a very powerful rally could be building. Moving away from the indexes now, another key element that's been missing throughout this last year was the number of high-quality stocks to buy. Sure, there were a handful of stocks that had nice runs like Celsius, Enphase, or Shockwave, but that was it. There were only a handful of names and everybody was watching them. If the market's going to move higher, we need to see broad participation from many stocks in many different sectors, and that's what we're starting to see now. Let's quickly take a look at some stocks that have been acting well and broke out this week, and then we'll take a look at some ideas for next week. So first up is PagerDuty. We have this cup with handle base. It gapped up on earnings here, and then this week we pushed above the handle and the left side high with increasing volume. You also have the relative strength line pushing to new highs as well. Next up, Duolingo. This one gapped up on earnings and then rode its 8 EMA higher. It then put in a 5-day mini coil before pushing to new highs today on increasing volume. Moving on, we have Tenable Holdings. This one formed a nice flat base that found support at the 10-week and the 50-day moving averages, and then it broke out today. Volume was only average here, but the overall action is really good, and you also have the relative strength line at new highs. Next up, let's take a look at Micarta Libre. This is one I've been talking about for a while now. We had this flat base that it briefly broke out of, and then as the market pulled back, this came down and got support at its 10-week moving average. And then this week, as the market firmed up, it pushed right back through its pivot with increasing volume and the relative strength line also moving into new highs. Shift4 Payments is next. This is another one similar to Micarta Libre that put in a few weeks of sideways action while the market dealt with the banking crisis. And then once the market firmed up this week, here we are back above the left side high with 3 straight days of increasing volume. Moving a little quicker now, Workday broke out of this flat base on increasing volume, relative strength line at new highs. Rambus, another one that broke out of a flat base this week on big volume, again with the relative strength line at the highs. And lastly, HubSpot, this one also broke out of a flat base this week, also with the relative strength line at new highs. This one, however, didn't have the above average volume. However, the overall action is very healthy. But the point of this is we are starting to see a lot of different stocks from a lot of different sectors start to participate in this rally, which is something that we have been missing. So let's quickly now take a look at some ideas for next week. The setup I'm going to be watching for next week is actually going to be the same for multiple stocks, and that's the failed breakout pullback. I have a full study on this setup that I'll put a link to in the description, but basically what you're looking for is a stock to break out and then within a few days pull back to the 21 exponential moving average. So the ones I'll be watching for this are PagerDuty, Tenable, Micarta Libre, and HubSpot, ones we just went over that broke out this week. So really quickly, let's take a look. PagerDuty broke the left side high, and now I'm watching it for that pullback to the 21. Tenable, same thing, broke the left side high, and now watching for that pullback. And then we have the same thing with Micarta Libre here, and then once again with HubSpot. So at this point, I'm still expecting more upside, but it's important not to chase stocks that are extended as we're still in a news-driven market. After a strong rally like we saw this week, it's very easy to give into FOMO, but it's important not to do that. Keep updating your watch list with leading stocks and be patient with your entries. If this is going to turn into a sustained rally, there will be plenty of time to get positioned. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found any of the information useful, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any future updates.